August 2025, we set out to do the outrageous task of building the ultimate family tourer. So this Troopy behind me sleeps our family of 4. It tows our Vibe caravan and it's taken us everywhere we've wanted to go. The build has been a massive work in progress, countless hours. Today we're going to walk you through the whole process, guys.
We are Ash and Ben of Roaming Coastlines, and we have been travelling Australia for about 2 years.
Yep, full time on the road, guys. So this isn't our first Troopy build. You may have seen about 4 years ago, we released a walk around actually in this exact same spot of our 2015 Troopy, which we had for about 8 years before deciding to do like a full upgrade and new build last year, which was honestly a big decision. So this one is a 2025 Toyota LandCruiser Troop Carrier GDJ GXL, which means this is the 4-cylinder model, which is honestly a very scary thing to change up from the V8. If you want to hear our full kind of thoughts on V8 versus the 4-cylinder, stick around to the very end of the video and we'll have a little chat through what we think of that. Anyway, I think we should get this walk around started and yeah, we'll basically run you guys through. Hopefully we don't forget anything. If you've got any extra questions, but drop them in the comments below. We love chatting to you guys. But yeah, let's start it. We'll start at the front of the car, I think, and go from there. Arguably like what kind of makes or breaks a car, I reckon. So the last Troopy we had like a traditional ARB bull bar. This time we wanted to kind of completely make everything look different. So went about as different as you could possibly do. This bar is from King's Custom in WA. Absolutely incredible company producing some of the nicest stuff in the four-wheel drive industry at the moment, I reckon. Just done by a couple as well. Like honestly could not be more impressed with how this thing's come out. It was super easy to install, instructions were amazing, and I think it looks pretty bloody good. So I believe this is the Prince bar. Also comes included with 2 steady lights on the side. So 2 little steady light bars. We've kept everything pretty simple. We've got obviously the GME UHF whip on the front, and then we've got a 12-pound carbon winch underneath, which we haven't actually had to properly use yet. Just had a little play around with it. So very, very happy with how all this has come together. Super neat, tidy, and it is definitely kind of a setup that draws a lot of looks wherever we go. Before we kind of move around to the back and everything like that, there's a couple of things that I almost forgot about, and I don't want to kind of skip over because I think they're really great. So bash plate under there, to match kind of all the sandy stuff from J-Max, we actually, Ben from Explore Oz does like a sandy coated, color coded bash plate, which really stoked with how that went on. Super easy install, looks really great and kind of just fits with the whole build of the car. Another one, which I can't show you, but I might overlay some footage at the moment, is so we had the whole underbody rust proofed with IGL Aegis. So IGL Aegis is a clear rust preventative. So when you've got like the really fancy undercarriage like us with all the J-Max stuff, the last thing you want is that black bitumen stuff sprayed all over it. So we went IGL Aegis, and from all my research is the best product you can possibly get. So we got that installed by Julian Seagar up in Harvey Bay. Absolute legend of a guy. Really impressed with the whole process, and we're super happy with the product. We also got one of IGL's products sprayed under the bonnet as well. So both of these products obviously keep everything in really good condition, and they actually make it a lot easier to clean as well. So yeah, highly recommend those 2 products, and it's worth checking out if you're looking to kind of do something like this. So under the bonnet, there's nothing too exciting going on in this car. It actually doesn't really need it, to be honest with you. So part of the J-Max GVM GCM upgrade is what they call an engine recalibration, and that's from Just Autos, and it's not like a performance tune, it's more of a longevity based thing. Yeah, basically that's part of the compliance for the GCM upgrade, is to get that. But yeah, so the car goes fantastic as it is. One thing that we have upgraded in there is we've actually upgraded the airbox. So we've got a FFM airbox, and that now takes the V8 filter. Reason why I did that is just to basically give it a little bit more breathing, but that's honestly about it under there, apart from some like fuse blocks and everything like that to keep all the wiring neat. Everything else is pretty bang stock average, really.
So we are running these gigantic 35-inch Maxxis Razor mud terrains on loaded gib wheels. These are our first mud terrains. We've had all terrains. And to be honest, we haven't really noticed a huge amount of difference. Pretty happy with them. And I think we'd probably keep running with muddies, actually. We went for the bronze wheels, which aesthetically is probably a little bit of a risk with the sandy, but I actually think it looks really great and I'm really happy with how it turned out. Probably the biggest thing that I needed convincing on for this build was the J-Max coil conversion and suspension upgrade.
Yep, so obviously anyone that's looked into this knows it comes with quite a hefty price tag. For me, this was like a non-negotiable for this build, basically, and I'll run through why. So basically, by doing this pre-rego SSM, we were able to legally have a 4-inch lift, 35-inch tyres. We were able to get a 4.2-ton GVM and also maintain our 3.5-ton towing capacity at the full GVM, which this is the only way to do it. So it was obviously a very big purchase, but for us that tours full-time, tows a caravan, it was something that was just a non-negotiable. So obviously, what I'll do is I'll B-roll a whole lot over this, but basically we got the full works with J-Max. So obviously all the pre-rego works, the coil conversion, the upgraded rear diff, the radius arms, we elected to go color-coded with everything because we figured, why the hell not, seeing they were going this far. We've got like the Alpha steering dampener, basically everything that you could get on the J-Max kit we've got, including the electronic shocks. So we've got the Alpha electronic shocks, which means we can adjust the rebound from inside the cab of the car, which I thought, seeing that we're going to kind of this extreme, was a worthy investment, because I kind of figured that if we're going to have like manually adjustable ones, we would probably never adjust them. And we've been finding since our use, like we do actually adjust these quite often. So when we've got the caravan on, we adjust it. When the caravan's off, we adjust it. Yeah. And I've been really impressed with how this setup works. To put in comparison, like it is like a completely different car than our last Troopy for towing. It is so much more stable on the road. It doesn't sway. It goes around corners without all the body roll. It is literally like driving a completely different car, which I think you would expect when you spend that amount of coin, but it's actually nice to be rewarded with getting what you expect, because that's not always the case, I reckon. So massive props to J-Max on building like amazing Australian-made stuff. Another pretty cool feature of the full J-Max kit is the fact that they take off the stock exhaust and replace it with a Torque-It full exhaust system. So although with a 4-cylinder, like you're not getting that really nice download grunt like you got with a V8, it actually does still sound pretty decent. Like particularly when you're off-road, you got it in low range and stuff like that. It does make at least a little bit of sound, considering it's got the DPF and everything like that in. But yeah, it looks really nice too. Really happy with that addition. So the driver's side of the car, as I said, kind of with the bull bar, this build was all about trying to be different from our previous build and kind of take a bit more risky decisions, I guess, particularly from what we would usually go with. So a big one for us, and I never thought we would ever own one, is a stainless snorkel. We had the Safari R-Max on the last Troopy. I had seen some photos with the new facelift bonnet, and I really liked the look of the stainless steel on the new shape LandCruisers. So I figured we'd go for it. There was really only one choice with us. Previous four-wheel drive builds, we've used fat bars. They're local to around where we've lived. Absolutely amazing guys. So for us, it was always going to be them, and we kind of chose to go in that direction. So this is the fat bars 5-inch stainless steel snorkel. We've also got the fat bars steps as well. Really, really happy with them. They've got like a really nice grip on the top. I think on the last Troopy, we had ARB steps and they were like literally ice skating as soon as it got wet. This is so much better. And like where we spend a lot of our time, like we're always getting wet feet, dew, rain, everything like that. So as a safety thing, and I think they look really bloody good as well. They're like big and bulky and they suit the LandCruiser. So for mirrors, we've got the clear views. Actually, the mirrors that came stock on this, massive upgrade from the older Troopy, but it wasn't an option for us because we need the wider mirrors. So basically two kind of considerations for us was MSA and Clearview. At the time of ordering this, MSA didn't list any legal ones for the new Troopies. So we're kind of left to go with Clearview. They do what they're meant to do. The electric side of them has stopped working inside, which we haven't managed to fix yet. That really hasn't bothered us too much because we're kind of used to having to manually adjusting everything with the last Troopy, but it is probably something that I would like to get sorted at some stage because it would be very handy to sort out.
We've got the Thorburns rear bar on the back. We optioned to have a rear wheel carrier and a barbecue box. We don't carry a barbecue in there. We carry our diving gear, snorkeling gear, various other wet items. So super handy, but we don't use it for a barbecue. So underneath we've got the J-Max airbag inlets. We've got a Anderson plug, a 12-pin trailer plug, a blackjack aluminium hitch, which is actually super cool because they're really lightweight. Ben rigged up like this little step, largely for me, so I can get in and out of the back of the Troopy. Yeah, it's all pretty standard.
Don't forget that reverse camera.
Oh, and we've got a reverse camera, which is super, super handy. We use that a lot, obviously, hitching up the caravan. Ben and I have gotten that down to a fine art. We don't even need to communicate. It's still just hand signals at this point.
So all those years ago, when we did the last Troopy build, there definitely wasn't the range of products that there are on the market these days. Like there is an overwhelming amount of choice now. Like it's a great thing, but it's also quite confusing of what you want to pick. Anyway, these are one of the things I was most stoked about with doing this build because it's just such a fantastic idea and I kind of always wish that I had this when doing the last build. So this here is from Arc Earth. This is their utility vent panel and it just basically works on a magnet. Flick that open. So in here I have an Anderson power out. We have a ARB twin compressor outlet and then we have a water in and out. And that actually feeds to our Arc Earth. I believe it's a 53 litre water tank underneath. We chose to go that size because obviously we have the caravan as well. So we don't live full time out of this thing. So we figured 53 would probably be enough to do the job. I think our last Troopy had 40 litres and that always was fine. So 53 is a nice little upgrade. But yeah, basically I can flick that on remotely, turn the pump on, plug a shower into there or a water outlet and we're good to go for water. Really happy with this and super neat and tidy. So I would say the second biggest decision with this build was the roof conversion. This is the centerpiece for being able to sleep our whole family in the car. So there's actually a few choices out there these days. We decided to go with Headspace campers locally to around North Brisbane, Australian made, and in our opinion, they just make the best looking roof conversions. They maintain the nice lines of the Troopy. I'm getting nailed by ants. And yeah, just a super nice Australian made product. And for us, there really wasn't any other choice. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pop this thing open. Now, probably one thing to note with these is it actually does take a little bit to pop these roofs. Like I've been asked by a few people, like, would a female be able to do it? And it's hard to answer that because obviously everyone's going to be quite different. But one thing to note, like the initial push, because there's a fair bit of suction, like it does take a little bit of effort to do that. Like I don't know if Ash would be able to do it. She's never tried. And obviously being pregnant and everything now is not the time to try. But yeah, it is something to note. Like if you're a solo female traveler, I would probably go and test one of these things out before you commit to buying it, just to see how it works for you. I think they actually do have like some kind of electric kind of razor things now. I'm not sure exactly how they work, but they could be an option. So as we mentioned earlier, one consideration with this build was we wanted to try to keep things Australian made where possible. So with an awning, that kind of leaves you very few options. There's a couple of options out there. We've had a bunch of 270-degree awnings in the past where I would say they're probably a little bit on the cheaper side. They've done the job fine, but as I said, Australian made. So after a bunch of research, we came to the conclusion that the Clever Shade Deluxe awning would be the best kind of one for us. And honestly, super stoked how these things come together. Just, you can clearly tell the difference in the quality compared to the other ones that we've had. Obviously, this is a bit of a pain because this car's so high, and it's definitely a job that isn't suitable for Ash to do. But we've had this thing out in some pretty mental winds and weather, fully freestanding as well. And it's just done a fantastic job. It's definitely got a bit of stuff on there. I'll just walk this thing around the other side. One thing I love about this is it's just got a bungee cord and it's super simple to use. I've been hooking it up to the strut of the headspace. Literally pull it tight. And yeah, we're good to go. Like, looks super nice with the black color. Fully freestanding in, I think it's up to like 40 or 50K winds, something crazy like that. I'll pop it on the screen. Just a really nice space and really easy to use. Very impressed with this product, and I personally think that it's worth paying a little bit extra in this case for what you get. Before we jump into the inside of the car, I thought probably a good one to mention. So on the roof of the Headspace camper, we've got a rack made by Explore Oz. So that's made by Ben and Explore Oz in Brizzy. Makes absolutely amazing stuff. And these are made particularly for the Headspace camper. So it looks nice and sleek and looks like it actually belongs on the unit. So really happy with that. On top of it, we're running a 300-watt solar panel from Roam Gear. The best thing about the Explore Oz racks is you can kind of have as many of the cross rails as you want. So we've got 4. So while we've been traveling recently, we've obviously got the solar panel. We've been running like a Starlink Mini down the back, like a Starlink Mini mount, and also Max Tracks on the roof as well. So gives you heaps of options, very flexible for what you put on the roof, and it actually looks good as well.
Now we get to look at all the fun stuff inside the car.
What did you say?
I said if I can hoist my pregnant self up into this vehicle. One of the things that we wanted to upgrade from the last Troopy was the seats. So this was super important, and we're actually super stoked with how these turned out. So these are from ProSeat. They're comfortable. We can do long drives and not have like crippling pain afterwards. And yeah, they just look pretty.
Another cool fact with them as well is they go on the factory seat rails as well. So it means no engineering, no blue cert, anything like that.
Yeah. What else have we got in the front here? We've also got our super cool Explore Oz phone mounts. And they've got the quad lock, and they also charge as well. So I guess the overall goal for the inside of the dash area was to keep it really clean and tidy, because that's something that we struggled with the last Troopy. But when you're traveling full time and you're living in a vehicle full time, having homes for everything is super duper important. So that was one of the things that we really focused on. So having this set up here, so you don't have kind of cords floating everywhere. Same with the UHF. It just plugs into the dash.
Yeah, so as Ash was saying, GME XRS, probably the most flashy UHF that we've ever owned. It does exactly what all the others do, but so yeah, works really good. Probably the thing I like most about this is the magnetic back, and we've actually used a TLR bracket just to keep it nice and neat, factory kind of mounting to the aircon vent. And yeah, it just sits there nice and neat, out of the way, cord pretty much out of the way. What else have we got in here? So, this is a pretty cool mod we did to this car. So this is the factory steering wheel, but it is called a steering wheel wrap from the company, Steering Wheel Wraps. It's full leather. it was like very cheap in regards to like Troopy mods, and it just makes the steering wheel feel so nice. And it's actually one of my favorite mods that we've done to the car, I reckon. So head unit, we went with, honestly, I can't remember the model. I'll pop it up on the screen. It's just basically a Kenwood one. It's one of their really big units. I'd seen a bunch of people use them in cruisers. It looked good. Fitment was very easy. Department of Interior, door pocket, speaker pods, everything like that. So we've actually got them in the front with aftermarket speakers and in the back with aftermarket speakers. The ones in the back, I'll overlay some B-roll here. Actually, we've made ones from the 79 series fit into the Troopy. Basically wanted some extra speakers in the car just to increase the sound a little bit. And they're wide into an amp, which is just hidden behind the side panels over there. So what else do we got? We have cruiser consoles, center console. So as of when we did this build, I'm not sure if it's changed now, there wasn't a full replacement console for the auto Troopies, basically. This was really good because the console actually doesn't look too bad in these ones. It's a fair bit of an upgrade of the older model 70 series. And this basically just replaces your center bit, and it's really good. Open, got a nice armrest here. We've got good storage, so really stoked with that. Another one down here, Department of Interior once again. So this is, it basically is a console that goes around your forward drive selector, and it allows you to put some switches, and what we've done is put a scan gauge tree in there. So for us with towing, monitoring temperatures is very, very important, and having a scan gauge is definitely high on our list of priorities. So that's a nice little spot, keeps it down out the way. As we said, we want everything to be very uncluttered in this car, and the only other option would have been to kind of mount it up higher. So down there I can still see it, it does the job, and nice and neat and out of the way. Up above we have the Headspace Campers parcel shelf. So this is just the stock, comes stock with basically the Headspace conversions. It's quite a small space, so we were really struggling of kind of how to go about utilizing this the most. What I've actually done is off the second battery, which we'll talk about after, I've run some power outlets, so permanent power down here, so we can fit like iPads or anything like that up the top. It's probably too small for a laptop, but you would get like an iPad and stuff like that up there. I actually utilize it to charge camera batteries and things like that. So usually I have all my camera battery chargers just sitting up there, like drone chargers, everything like that. And it basically just gives me a nice, neat charging station for all of that stuff. I've actually laid down some black carpet there, so I was able to put Velcro onto the chargers. Sits up there, doesn't go flying around when we go over bumps or anything like that. Down here, we've got, it's nothing, well, one's pretty exciting, the other one isn't. It's just a Red Arcto Pro Elite dial. So we've got that in there, obviously, for when we're towing the caravan. And then the other one is the, I guess, the console for the J-Max Alpha electronic shocks. So basically gives us a whole bunch of controls in here so we can customize the electronic shocks when we're towing, when we're not towing, as we spoke about earlier. So works really, really good. Really happy with that. In the back here, basically, it's just, I would say it's a stock rear seats of a Troopy. Like that's literally what we've got. We've got like a neoprene seat covers on there because the kids are very dirty. So anything to do to try and protect the seats as much as possible. As I said before, Department of Interior consoles, speaker pods. I've actually put some USB charging points on both sides for the kids. And we've actually got sand grabber mats in the front and in the back as well, just to try to keep as much sand out of the car as possible. One of the biggest changes with this car for us compared to the last was going from vinyl to carpet, which was not something we were that keen on. We actually attempted to put vinyl in the car and failed miserably, so the carpet ended up going back in. So we like to spend a lot of time like off-road, dirt tracks, caravan, beach, everything like that. So vinyl is very nice to have, but these seem to be doing a pretty good job at keeping the bulk of the dirt out, but you always get a little bit that slips down the side. But yeah, I reckon probably the next thing, and what most people have been waiting to see, is how we convert this space downstairs into like a sleeping area for the kids. So we're going to jump in, we're going to get that done.
Another super cool thing about the Headspace conversion is that they come with these overhead lights. There's one up the front and then one down the back, and they are tap to turn on, and they come in red, which is great for nighttime and white.
Very cool. Before we jump in, one thing I should note is we do usually run a real wheel bag on the Troopy. Had it off the other day to clean everything and just haven't chucked it back on again. So for the last few months, we've been running one from PM Canvas, which is a family-owned company over in WA. They fully custom make pretty much everything. Amazing product. Super, super happy with that. It can actually fit our max tracks and stuff on there as well, which we have done at different stages. But just wanted to kind of give those guys a shout out because it's a really great product, and like they're the kind of companies we're trying to support with this kind of stuff.
So this is what the rear looks like when we are in 5-seater mode. So lots of cushions. Ben will touch on this a bit more, but our rear fit out is by Summit Vans. We have a Dometic NRX 80 in the back here. We also have 2 of these really great tables from OTA. So when we are flying solo without the caravan, these tables get a massive workout. Super happy with them. They do the job of holding things. Far out.
Ant.
Green ants are wild.
We picked a good spot. I'm going to sit up here so my feet don't get nailed by ants. But one thing to touch on further. So we chose the Dometic NRX instead of the Bushman, which we did have in the last Troopy. One, because we really wanted to try something different. Although the Bushman did a really great job most of the time, it did seem to struggle when we were in like the hotter climates of WA last time. So the opportunity was there to try something different. These NRXs seem to get a rap for having the best, like the newest technology in them. So they're super efficient, and we love the fact that you can turn the whole thing into a freezer or the whole thing into a fridge. It just makes it a bit more versatile with us that also has a fridge in the caravan as well. So far it's been fantastic. Like it seems to use very, very minimal amps when it's running. And also these OTA, which is part of MIG-TIG 4x4 up into Toowoomba. So a local Queensland company, once again, we're really keen to support them and have their products in the Troopy. The molly panels are also done by them as well. We kind of haven't really maximized how to best use the molly panels yet. So that is a work in progress. At the moment, we're just keeping things like our awning tie downs and things like that up there. You'll also see, I've also popped up somebody strip lights, I guess is what you call them, on each door, nice and neatly kind of run down and run into the second battery in there. So I think it's not gonna work like that because it's off. But basically I can control them. If they're turned on, you can control by the buttons there. Otherwise, I've got it full wired up to a Red Arc Red Vision system, so I can turn it on and off on my phone or on the control panel in the car. In regards to the fit out, we went with Summit Vans because they were relatively new, I guess, to the Troopy market. So these guys have been making the most killer builds in like the Mercedes Sprinter spaces for so many years now, and we're always kind of looked at their fit outs with envy, and the chance to kind of jump on their Troopy builds was really exciting. So we jumped into that and we kind of commissioned them to do like a build that could obviously be a 5-seater and then also sleep the kids downstairs as well. And we're super pumped with the job those guys done. Like they're down south coast of New South Wales if you aren't aware, and like honestly highly recommend considering them if you're going to be doing a Troopy build in the near future. Basically, we've got like drawers on both sides. We've got a little hatch there, which is really good. And then the whole couch actually lifts up, and it's probably got about that much storage space underneath as well, which is perfect place to kind of store clothing and everything like that. What we'll do now is we'll actually jump in and we'll set this up so we have a couch and everything downstairs and show you guys how it works. All right, so this is probably like the most cramped part of the whole setup right now. So as you'll see, the good thing with the headspace conversion is that's about to change in a second. So to swap this over, you actually need to have the roof raised. But basically all I'll do now, push up these, and then we're just gonna push up the whole bed base. What we've got here is we've got basically 2 boards, okay? So one board goes at the front, and that's like the stability, I guess, for the front of the front of the board to go in. So I pull this out, comes out like this. Turn it over, sit it down here, just while I'm waiting. And probably the trickiest part to get used to, but once you've done it a few times, is you just got to be able to reach in and lift up the little, the stock tab for these seats. So the whole seat doesn't need to roll forward. It's basically just this backrest here. So what I'm going to do is lift that up a little bit and then pull the tab. Now that's done, that folds forward. Now we grab this. And they've actually put some like magnetic tabs on this. So that kind of locks into place on there. We pop this here. There we go. That slides in, that locks in. We've also, you might see these little corner pockets here. So we've actually got some inserts for there as well, which we do use sometimes we don't. But basically, now that we've done that, you can take one of these mattresses, pop it down there, pop this one down here, and this one down here. And now we have a little couch. So this is actually set up like really strong in here. So we've had times where we haven't had the kids in the car and we just leave it set up in 2-person mode, driving around, and it's fine. It doesn't rattle around, anything like that, particularly once you add the corner sections in. It seems to hold it there a lot tighter. Basically now we've gone from a 5-seater to it's a 2-seater obviously, but something where we have couch areas downstairs to be able to sit down. We can sit here, can cook if we need to, obviously, and the kids can sleep down here. So one other thing to note with this, which is probably going to be a bit hard for me to do this way, but do you want to maybe jump around the back, Ash? Mm-hmm. Yeah, so another feature that we've got around here is this actually slides out. Oh, hang on, we've got this little lock in here. Pull that out. So that slides out. And then this goes down. And then, yeah, this turns into a bed down here as well. So when we've stayed in here a few times, we've done a few different options. The kids kind of just pick and choose what they want. So one of the times the kids were like, one kid was like sleeping across down here where I am, and one was sleeping obviously down here. And then other times we've done it, the kids have just slept side by side down the bottom here. So gives a few options, and we've also had the dogs with us before as well. So like the dogs have slept up on this little pocket over here, which they quite like. So
important to note that this section here, the front section, like the lengthways, is actually long enough for an adult.
Yeah. So like you could definitely sleep 2 adults down here if you had to, but it would be pretty cozy, I would say. But perfect for 1 person. So like if you were kind of doing like a solo trip or whatever and you didn't want to pop the roof and you wanted to have a sneaky little sleep down here, like this is the perfect way to do it. So I'm going to pack this back up again just so we can put it away. Yeah, so as you can see, it's like a sick area now to be able to sit down, like even for someone that's quite tall like me. So we've got a couple of drawers up the top up here. They're like soft close. Open them up. Down the bottom here, there's actually a hatch. So that's actually designed so you could have a 12-volt hot water system in there. We have chosen not to do that because we don't need it. So I just use it as storage space. One thing, and I'll do some B-roll of this so you guys can see what I'm talking about, but it's actually designed so the drawers don't go all the way back, and there's a whole cabinet area down the back to do all your battery setup. So basically what we are running, I spoke about it a little bit earlier, we've got the Red Arc Red Vision screen, we've got the Red Arc Rogue, which we use to switch everything. We've got the Red Arc Alpha 50, like the DC, so that's your DC to DC charger. We are also running a Victron solar controller because I basically wanted to be able to charge from the panel while we're also charging from the alternator and not have it restricted as well. And then last of all, it's all tied together with an Egon DC hub. I basically because I was going to be doing a lot of the install myself, I chose to get the DC hub just to make it all a little bit easier, a little bit safer, just to ensure everything kind of works really well together. But yeah, this here like is actually custom made by myself. I couldn't find anything like on the market basically that kind of gave me what I wanted. So basically, I think that's from like
it's a marine.
Yeah, like a marine transponder thing. Basically, that came like aluminium and that. I painted it in black Raptor. I've installed like 240 outlets there, and then obviously all USB outlets, and then the screens around the front. We've actually got another 240 outlet down on the side there, and that one's really handy for us to be able to cook with the induction cooker on the rear bundled table. So everything's been really well thought out in regards to that. Just kind of not over the top, but to keep everything simple, super usable, and super practical, I would say. I feel like we should possibly jump up in the roof, Ash. You want to jump up in the roof?
I'll give it a red hot go.
Sweet. The penthouse.
So I reckon one of the best things about this is the pitch height. So I can almost stand up in here and get changed. Because of the height as well, it means that we can sleep with our head down this end, which is super handy. It's just a really, really lovely place to sleep when you've got all of the canvas open. We've had the canvas open in all types of weather, and it's just the airflow is really, really great. It's just a really nice place to sleep. We've got a couple of little fans up on the roof. There's some, are these USB?
Yeah, USB and USB-C.
Outlets, bunch of pockets, super handy for storage. The mattress is, how thick is the mattress?
70 mil, possibly, yeah.
It's comfy.
Yep.
Yeah, we haven't had any issues with it, and I can be pretty particular about mattresses. But yeah, overall, just a super great product.
So one thing that's very unique for the headspace, which we love, is these trapdoors on each side. So basically, I guess if you're really like a lot taller than me, that's probably super handy. I don't need these down. I do fit, I'm 6'3", and I do fit on the main part of the mattress. What we're doing a lot, but is we have my side down, Ash's side up, so then the kids can kind of poke their head up and everything like that. And we basically just chuck like any of our clothing and that on the back of this one down here as well. Another little hint we've found is, although you probably can fit all your bedding and pillows and everything in here as well, it is a fair bit of a squeeze. So we actually just take these cushions away from here because we're not sleeping on there, and store our pillows down the end there. So the roof just closes super easily. A little cool fact with the with like a roof conversion compared to a rooftop tent. Yeah. So one thing we've noticed is we've had like aluminium rooftop tents in the past, and in colder climates, they get so cold. I think because of all the cold air gets up underneath the tent. Completely different in this thing, obviously because it's all one piece. We've stayed down to probably like 0 to 1 degrees, just a nice winter doona on, and it was so like snuggly and toasty up the top. Super impressed the difference you get with that. And as anyone that knows that's kind of suffered through cold nights, it's just the crappiest thing to deal with. So yeah, really impressed with how this works with maintaining heat and everything like that. And as Ash said, like the airflow for warmer places. I remember we were down the Victorian high country recently, and I think I wanted to have a rest in the rooftop tent because the kids were in the caravan. It was super noisy. Caravan was like pretty hot. I came up into here, had everything open, the fans blasting, and it was so much cooler than what it was in our caravan. So very impressed with that. Probably one of the things that most people are keen to hear about is V8 versus the 4-cylinder. So as I mentioned earlier, we had the V8 for over 8 years. We've had the 4-cylinder now coming up to 1 year. Probably the best person to ask is someone that's probably not as invested in the differences between them, but has driven them both quite extensively. What do you think? Like, what's your thoughts on the differences in the car?
I think as far as drive comfort is concerned, I mean, there's a lot of different things about this Troopy than about our last Troopy.
Yeah.
Our last Troopy was a manual as well. So I find this car probably easier to drive, I'd say. It doesn't sound as good.
No.
But as far as towing is concerned, I probably prefer this car to the old Troopy.
Yep.
I'd say.
It's hard too because it's not a very fair comparison, like where Ash mentioned in like comfort. So obviously the last one just had like an Ironman Foam Cell Pro suspension, GVM upgraded and stuff like that, where this has got the best of the best with the J-Max stuff. So obviously it rides way better to begin with. It's got the bigger tires, the corrected diff, everything like that. So it feels very stable on the road. The interesting part was what Ash just mentioned there. So with the old V8, we were only towing a Jayco Starcraft pop top, so a lot smaller caravan than we tow now. That's the crazy part, is this one with the bigger tires and everything like that probably tows as good as the V8 did with a smaller caravan. Like if there's any difference, it's not very noticeable. This probably runs a little bit better temps when it's towing, I would say, which is very impressive. And then when you have the caravan not on, such an easier car to drive. Obviously, like the V8's a bit of a pig. You kind of got to go through the gears pretty hard. This has a nice, smooth, automatic gearbox. Feels really nice just to kind of cruise around, and that has got a bit of lag, like on the kind of initial takeoff, which I believe like a lot of kind of your modern day diesel four drives do. So that's probably the one part, but then it really kicks in and it really like kind of throws you back. Yeah. So yeah, overall, like it's very hard. And if I had to pick one, I would still struggle. Like I miss the sound of the V8 and I miss that really down low grunt.
And like the torque.
The torque, the grunt, the torque. But this is probably a nicer car to drive and an easier car to drive. It feels less work. Like if you do 8 hours in this car, so much easier than 8 hours in the V8. If you probably gave me the choice to pick my perfect car, I would probably pick an automatic V8. Like I think that's kind of the compromise. But overall, like we're really happy with how this has gone. Like we were quite intimidated jumping into switching from the V8 to the 4-cylinder, but it's kind of done everything we asked it to do. So we can't really complain about it. What we might do now is we're going to ask each other a few questions off the cuff and kind of see a response. So best mod that we've done to this car?
That's really hard because we've done so many.
Yep.
Can I have two?
No, just pick one.
Okay. Probably the rooftop conversion, I'd say. It's my favorite. Yours?
Yeah, like it's hard to beat that. I'm gonna go one because I don't want to pick the same thing, and two because I think that it actually is my favorite is the J-Max core conversion.
That was my second one.
Just for how the car drives, like it does not feel like a 70 series at all anymore. It's a very impressive car to drive, I reckon.
Yeah, that was my number two. What has been your favorite? This is not fair because we're going to pick the same thing. What's been your favorite trip we've done in the Troopy?
I actually think my favorite is, and this is probably going to be different than yours because I'm thinking a bit further back now. So probably the first time we were actually doing a road trip down to Melbourne to pick up our new Vibe caravan. We didn't have a rear fit out or anything in at this stage, but we decided to do like a few overnight stops on the way down. And we stopped in this, probably it was like west of Coffs area. We stopped at this epic free camp on the river that we'd never actually been to before.
That was a good one.
And we all slept in the car. We used like an inflatable mattress in the back for the kids, and Ash and I slept upstairs. That was the night that we got down to like 0 and 1 degrees. Yeah. And yeah, it was just a really cool experience. And it kind of felt initially like how it's all coming together a bit, I would say.
Yeah.
What about you?
Mine's the cliff top.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a pretty easy one to pick. So that was like basically the completion of our rear fit out, everything like that. Yeah. We were staying down on the south coast of New South Wales in our caravan, and we'd kind of got wind of this pretty cool spot where we could go and camp for the night. Yeah. You couldn't get a caravan there. And yeah, so we all went up there, and we actually spent a couple of nights there in the end, just camped up on this cliff top. Just a really cool experience to do with the family. And it kind of felt like, you know, completing our vision, I guess. Yeah,
it was like the reward after several months of, I mean, the whole build was a long period, but like just the rear fit out was like a good couple of months.
So like, I don't think we actually mentioned earlier, like our goal with this to begin with was to create something that we could all sleep in, and we could leave the caravan in locations and go super remote for just a couple of days at a time. So this, like that cliff top one kind of was just like ticking that off the bucket list, I guess.
Yeah, it was kind of satisfying that we could do it with a level of comfort that, you know, we hadn't had in just like a car trip. Okay, so this is a good question for Ash now, because I think one of the coolest things about doing like a build like this compared to other things is the ability of how you can use the car. So are you comfortable to drive this as like a daily driver? Yeah.
Yep.
Absolutely. With that question.
Yep.
Yeah. I park this thing better than I park the Kia.
Okay.
What do you think was because there's always a compromise.
Yeah.
What do you reckon was the biggest compromise that we had to make for this build?
So I think the pretty obvious one to mention is the fact that we build a overlanding Troopy as a 5-seater into an overlander. So obviously that's the biggest compromise. So most people that do Troopy builds are obviously going to be like a two-person one. So there are compromises with doing like a 5-seater build. Obviously, we showed you one of them then, the need to actually set stuff up, where like in a 2-seater, you wouldn't really need to do that downstairs. So that's a compromise. And I guess the other compromise is you are losing some storage space. So fine for us, like we have the caravan as well to carry. Yeah. This is super practical and suitable for a couple of nights away. It would be a lot harder to go and do, let's say, like a week away remote, I would say, without the caravan.
Yeah.
You would have to be looking into options like probably, you know, like mounting more storage on the rear, like possibly like some kind of roof storage boxes up the top. It definitely works really good for a couple of nights, but it would be a push to do much more.
Yeah, when there's four bodies that you have to kind of account for, just like your like clothing and food and all of those things. Like I think how many nights what's the max we've done? Like 2 nights, 3 nights?
I think we've done two or three possibly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but we were eyes open with that. Like we've had a Troopy before. We were aware of like that would be a limitation, and like, yeah, we're stoked with how it came out, and we don't regret that side of it at all. Overall, I think it's come together really, really nicely. It's definitely a car that draws a lot of attention wherever we go. Everyone loves a Troopy, and this one is a very, very eye-catching Troopy. So I think we're going to wrap up this video now, guys. If you're new around here, jump on and subscribe. So as we mentioned earlier, we travel full-time around Australia. We're at home at the moment just to have our third baby. Once the baby arrives safely and everything's kind of all sorted out, we are going to hit the road again full-time. So we'd love to share our adventures with you. Hope everyone enjoyed checking out our rundown of our new Troopy. If you've got any questions, drop them below. We love chatting about this stuff. Hope everyone's doing really well. We'll see you in the next one, guys.